Hari Om dear students, welcome to today's online session. In today's online session, we are going to discuss about the poem The Shed. This is really a very interesting poem, and also most of you might have experienced such an incident in your life, which we are going to discuss in this poem. So first let us see what is the poem about. So here the poem is about the shed, which is a small room away from the main house of the poet. You can see here a small room which is almost in a worst condition, like in bad condition, where the doors and the windows are almost breaking, and even the total house is in a bad condition, almost about to collapse. So this house is at the bottom of the poet's garden here. So you have to imagine a poet as a small boy, and here in poet's house there is a small room away from the main house. Even most of us also have such kind of a small room, or we may also call it as a store room, or just we have certain rooms very far away from the house to put all the unused things, like a storeroom we call it. Okay, so in the same way here in this poet's house also there is a small room which he is calling as a shed, and it is located at the bottom of the poet's garden. Okay children, so here what does the poet say? He is having a small room very far away from the house at the bottom of his garden, and he is calling it as a shed, and it is in a worst condition. And whenever the poet passes through this room, he had many fears and many thoughts about the shed, and as well as about the things in the shed. So all these things we are going to discuss now in this poem, The Shed. Hope you will follow it children. So before continuing this video, do read the poem twice so that you can easily understand the poem. Hope you will do it. Before starting the poem children, let us discuss about the poet of our poem, The Shed. So the poet here is Frank Flynn. So you can see the picture of our poet Frank Flynn here, and actually he was born on 6th December 1906 at Sydney, and he was a Northern Territory based Australian doctor. Actually his profession is, by profession he is a doctor, ophthalmologist, and also an author, and as well as a missionary priest. So coming to this Flynn, he is a doctor, author, and as well as priest, and he is notable for his contributions to the religion, medicine, and as well as aboriginal welfare. So in this way he had contributed a lot to the society. He was not only a poet but also a doctor, and as well as a what? Priest. Okay children? Yeah. Let us start the first stanza children here. Hope you have read the poem twice. Yeah, here is the first stanza. There is a shed at the bottom of our garden with a spider's web hanging across the door. The hinges are rusty and creak in the wind. When I'm in bed, I lie and listen. I'll open the door one day. So here the poet or the little boy, you can imagine, okay, he is saying that there is a shed at the bottom of his garden, and with a spider's web hanging across the door. That means as hardly anyone goes inside the shed, there were a lot of spider webs. Generally children, when we won't go to a particular house or the construction for a long period of time, what will happen? It will become dusty and spider webs hang here and there, isn't it? So in the same way, as hardly no one goes inside the shed, the spider webs were hanging across the doors and windows. And the hinges are rusty and creak in the wind. That means here the hinges in the sense the door joins. So as nobody goes into the shed, they never open the door, isn't it? So when they don't open the doors for a long period of time, what will happen to the door joints? They become very rusty and creak. And whenever the wind blows, what will happen? They will make a lot of noise whenever the wind makes them to move. And at that point of time, when these doors and windows are making a lot of noise, the poet wishes he would go and see, because he lies in the bed. See here, when I am in bed, I lie and I listen. So here, the poet, he lies in his bed and he listens to the sounds made by these rusty joints of the doors. And see, I'll open the door one day. That means here the poet wishes to be able to open the door of the shed someday, because he is afraid of that shed, because no one goes to that shed, they never enters into the shed. So he was also afraid, and he wishes one or the other day he will open the door of the shed. Okay, children. So once again I am repeating it. So there is a shed at the bottom of the poet's garden, and the total shed was covered with the spider webs. The spider webs were hanging here and there across the doors and windows and all the roof, because no one goes into the shed. Hardly people go. Very rarely people go to the shed. So as there were no one going, even the hinges are rusty. That means even the door joints or the window joints were rusty. They have become rusty, and they're making a lot of sound, creak in the wind, in the sense they're making a lot of sound when the wind moves them. When wind blows, automatically it pushes the windows and doors, isn't it? So because of that, some sound is being heard by the poet. And when this poet was in bed, when he was lying in the bed, he was able to listen the sounds of the rusty door or the windows, and he wishes that one or the other day definitely he will be opening the doors of the shed. Hope you have followed the first stanza, children. Here is the second stanza, children. So let us look into the second stanza. There is a dusty old window around at the side, with three cracked panes of glass. I often think there is someone staring at me. Each time that I pass, I'll peep through that window one day. So here in this stanza, the poet is saying that this shed is having a dusty old window on one of its sides. So on one of the sides of this shed, there was a dusty old window. Okay, and also three glass panes of the window are broken. Cracked in the sense here, broken. So this window, you can see here, I have given you the picture here. There was a dusty old window at one of the sides of the shed, and to this window there were four or six glass panes will be there, like glasses. Among all, 3 panes were cracked, in the sense broken. So 3 glass panes of the window were broken, and whenever the poet passes through the shed, he feels that someone is watching him or someone is staring at him. He feels in such a way, and also he would like to just peep through the window one day and find out who is there inside the shed. Okay, children. So there is a dusty old window around at the side. So to one of the sides of this shed, there was one dusty old window, to which among all the glasses, 3 glasses were broken. Like 3 cracked panes of glass, in the sense 3 glass panes of the window were broken. And I often think there is someone staring at me each time that I pass. So whenever the poet is passing, or whenever he passes through the shed, he gets a feeling that someone is staring at him. Okay, or someone is watching him, what he is doing and all. And also he feels that I will peek through the window one day. That means to find out who is there in the shed and who is staring at him. He wishes that he would peep through the, that means he peep in the sense look into. So he would like to look into the window one day, and he would definitely wanted to find out who is there inside the shed. Okay, children? Yeah. Coming to the third stanza, children. Here is the third stanza. My brother says there is a ghost in the shed who hides under the rotten floorboards, and if I ever dare to set foot inside, he will jump out and chop off my head. But I will take a peek one day. So here the poet's brother, he is having the poet, the little boy here, he is having one brother, and always he says that there is a ghost inside the shed. You can see in the picture here, my brother says there is a ghost in the shed. And here always the brother, he talks about the presence of the ghost inside the shed, and also he warns the poet that if he goes inside the shed, definitely the ghost would chop off his head. See here. My brother says there is a ghost inside. The poet's brother, he says that there is a ghost inside the shed who hides under the rotten floorboards. Under the rotten floorboards, in a sense, on the floor. See here, I have given you the picture. Under the floor, under the rotten floorboards, the floor of the house which was very rotten in the sense spoiled. So here the ghost is hiding under the floorboards which was rotten, that means spoiled. So when this ghost is hiding under the rotten floorboards here, and if I ever dare to set foot inside, that means if I wanted to go inside the shed, definitely the ghost will jump out and chop off my head, he's saying. So the poet's brother said that definitely if I enters into the shed, the ghost which was hiding under the rotten floorboards will jump out on to the poet, and he will cut off the poet's head. So in this way, the poet's brother started threatening the poet as he was very little. But I will take a peek one day, he's saying. So, but the poet is saying that But definitely one or the other day, I will look into the shed. That is what now, whenever somebody says that not to go in that way or not to do something, out of curiosity, we will definitely do that and we will think of ourselves, okay, let me find out what will happen if I do this. So in this way, most of the children, whenever they are said not to do something, definitely they will be doing the same thing. So in the same way here, when the poet's brother warned him that there is a ghost inside the shed and it is hiding under the rotten floorboards, and also if the poet gets into the shed, definitely his head will be chopped by the ghost. Still the poet, he wanted to have a look at the shed. He wanted to get inside the shed and wanted to see who is there and how is it. Okay, children? Yeah. Here is the last stanza of the poem, children. Let us start. I know that there isn't really a ghost. My brother tells lies to keep the shed for his den. So here, finally, the poet is able to come over all his own fears. Like he was afraid of the ghost which was hidden under the rotten floorboards, isn't it? But finally, he came out of all these fears, and finally he understands that there is no ghost inside the shed, and he also understands that his brother tells him lies to keep the shed for his den, to use for himself. His brother wanted to use the shed for himself and he wanted to keep it as his own den. Probably the poet's brother is threatening the poet by saying that there is a ghost inside the shed and there isn't anyone staring or making strange noises, and the spider has been gone from his web since I don't know when I'll go into the shed one day soon, but not just yet. So here he says that not only the ghost, there isn't anyone staring. That means actually nobody is there inside the shed. Like what his brother said that there is a ghost, but not only ghost, but nothing is there. Nobody is there inside the shed, and also nobody stares at him or makes those strange noises. He is able to hear some strange noises. No, actually all those is his imagination. There is no one inside the shed and nobody is staring or nobody is making the strange noises. Not even the spider is there. Spider is also not there. The spider has been gone from his web. That means even the spider has gone away from his web, as everyone have gone away. Not even the spider is there and nobody is there. Now he wanted to go and look at what is there inside the shed, because his brother, he had been telling him lies. And because why is he telling lies, children? Here, because he wanted to retain or keep the shed for himself, his own use. Probably he might want it to use it as his own den. So finally the poet, he feels that very soon I would be able to set foot in the shed. He is interested to set his foot inside the shed. That means he wanted to go into the shed here. See, I will go into that shed one day soon. Definitely I will get into the shed one day. But not just yet. So definitely I will go. But however, it will not be happening immediately. It may take some time. So finally, though the poet came out of all his fears of a ghost or some strange person who is staring at him, and also some noises which he has been hearing. He felt that there is nothing. He came out of all his fears and he wanted to get into the shed and see what is there, but still he is hesitating and he is saying that it may take some time. Hope you too have such kind of an experience in your life, children, isn't it? Yeah. So children, here the poet says that there is a shed at the bottom of his garden, and sometimes he hears the sounds of the some creaking sound, like which is coming out from the door joints, as it was very old and as no one is going inside the shed. Many spider webs were hanging and it was too dusty, and also whenever he passes through the shed he feels that someone is staring at him. And also he says that to one of the window, there is a one old dusty window to one side of the shed, and among all the glasses 3 glass panes were broken, and he wanted to see through those glass panes but he couldn't see it. And he also says that one or the other day he will definitely see through the windows what is there inside the shed. But his brother says that there is a ghost inside the shed which is hiding under the rotten floorboard, and if he sets his foot inside the shed, definitely it will be attacking, or it will cut off his head. In that way his brother threatened him, and finally here the poet, the little boy, he understands that the poet's brother, his brother had threatened him to keep the shed for himself, but there is no ghost or not an individual, and not even the spiders. Spiders are also have also gone away, and no one is there inside the shed, and it is totally empty. And he wanted to go immediately, but he says that it will definitely take some time to get into the shed and see what is there in this shed. Okay, children, hope you have understood this poem. If you have any doubts, please contact us so that we will clarify your doubts. Hari Om. Thank you.